sports, he would also be a fun one. Dude, I wonder if it would be interesting to just one week have like a football friends episode. So like have John in, have Ben
Multiple
come in,
people.
because then you could talk Lions with Ben more so.
Yeah.
John's knowledgeable about everything, but his knowledge with the Saints is very deep.
Yeah.
Shit, we could even mess around and have my buddy Steve on. He's a Dolphins fan. Dang, how many friends? My buddy Brandon is a diehard Broncos fan. Like, if we really just wanted to get super crazy and be like, we pulled a whole bunch of fans from all over the. If we do that, we should do it before the draft. Because then we each can talk about our team and what we would like to see, how we think the draft would play out. That would be kind of. I mean, it would be a one episode type of thing. And yes, there'd be a lot of people, but like, I feel like if we were to do that, they're going to tell their friends, yo, you have to check out this episode.
Yeah.
And that reach is going to because that's going to,
we could see about getting Lutz. He's a big Patriots guy.
Yeah, dude, perfect. Ugh. But yeah, good example. But yeah, we don't have to invite him. But yes, no, all jokes aside, that would be perfect. Because if you're going to have a Bears fan, like let's say Gump, like Lions, Bears, same division. You know what I mean? Like Dolphins, Patriots, same division. So like that would be actually kind of cool. But I would only do it for people who I know would have enough knowledge without being biased. Yeah. I wouldn't want somebody to come in who's going to be like, "Oh, you guys fucking suck, like you're trash, like da 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 da," and just completely bash and ruin the content. Like it needs to be. But we could also tell people, look, like have pride for your team, but understand this is an open discussion. Like this isn't like your team sucks because they suck. Like we invited everybody here to have, you know, an open mind and engage in conversation rather than push back. All right, we're still recording video, so I guess I'll get this going.
Alrighty. That might get left in for the video.
Oh, that's fine too.
I mean, it wasn't anything bad.
Well, if it gets left in, Lutz, I still love you. I just don't like the Patriots, just like you shouldn't like the Dolphins. Well, I don't hate him for a person. I don't hate him as a human being.
Look at you. I was like, you know what? We're going to put that in. You know what? Let me backtrack real quick, man. Let me beep, beep, beep. Clay's going backwards. All right.
No lives matter. No lives matter. Don't put that in the episode.
Right.
Everybody knows where I stand. I don't got to fucking sugarcoat that shit.
Yeah. All right. Let's let me know when you're ready to start counting it in.
I'm ready. You good?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. 1.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
You know.
So our countdown's potentially going to be left in.
Just on the video.
That's how advanced we are, people.
But just in the video.
Hey, if we do find software though that is a little bit better, we'll never have to worry about that shit.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, we have to be. Typically, you got to be using the same kind of operating system to really make it work. But if I guess we download the software, PC and Mac, it's still the same software. So
yeah. See, my gut tells me that if we're gonna get real like that, it's gonna be a paid thing.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't have to worry about it because we have our own engineer where we wouldn't have to really be doing the cutting ourselves.
That too.
So I wouldn't even be concerned.
Need an intern.
Oh man. We had a week. I'm ready to get into it. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Proficient Fans. My name is CB and with me is
Haggard.
Clay Haggard.
Woo! CB Watkins.
First week of the new year. Tell me, how was it for you?
It was a week.
New year, new me?
It was a week. That's all I got for you. Some interesting football this weekend. Got a national championship tomorrow that we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
You know, I will say not to bring it down, but like my grandfather did actually pass recently, so you know, much love, shout out to him. I'm going to do this episode in honor of my grandfather, my grandpa Haggard. So great man, military man, Marine for several decades. So an honor to him.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't know.
Hey, no worries. Yeah, I didn't even bring it up beforehand, but like, you know what? I'm celebrating the life that he did live. I mean, I had a great relationship with my grandfather, so you know, I got nothing to be. I mean, obviously very sad, but like, I got I got closure with him, which meant the world to me, which was awesome. And there was acknowledgement when we had those conversations. So, it was time, man. He lived a real good life. So,
here's to your grandfather.
yeah, absolutely.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
I literally
Your phone's still coming through.
Is it? Sorry.
Unless you got more shit queued up.
No, I don't. Not right now. I was thinking about it all week. Yeah, I when you said that just now, I was just like, I'm the worst friend in the world. I was feeling really bad because like I didn't know, and I just.
Nope, you're good. I mean,
big ups,
it's
man.
not something that I'm walking around telling people, hey guys, guess what?
No, I understand. I understand, but typically it's like, I don't know, events like that I happen to always find out about with people, and so,
well, like I said, man, like, this is my podcast today will be in honor of him. We're going to be talking football. We're going to get into Ohio State, which was his number 2 team right behind Notre Dame. So like, I'll be thinking about him while we're doing that. But no, man, like, we're good. We're good. He's with my grandmother. They're both at peace now. Like, the thought of that kind of, I don't want to say puts me at ease, but that idea does make me happy. So
certainly,
absolutely.
So.
And he loved football, so you better believe I'm fucking coming with it for this episode,
right?
Because all we're gonna do is talk football.
That's about all that's happening. That's all that's really happening. I mean, especially with this weekend. Yeah, I mean, the week was for me personally, it really wasn't that bad. Just a typical week. But what really threw me off was, what was that? Wednesday's events, Tuesday's events that happened at the Capitol, and I was I was just sitting there. I was at work, and I was just like, holy shit! I'm like, these motherfuckers are storming the Capitol.
Oh yeah, I know. That was like when I said it's been a week. Like that's kind of what I was thinking, because when that was going down, dude, that was what, Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Or was it Tuesday?
I thought it was
Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And then I got in a fucking wild conversation. I was like, Jesus, all right. But that was nuts to me, man. And Twitter was fun to read.
It's a fucking damn shame is what it is.
Oh, that part is
just that it happened, generally speaking. Not to get super political, but
yeah,
Christ.
But that was just stunning as fuck. And I mean,
yeah, dude.
Like I said, like it took me a minute to really realize that I hadn't let you know I was ready, because I got stuck watching 60 Minutes and because they were covering all that shit, and I was just, it's a wild fucking thing. Just never seen anything like this. I mean, never in my life, never even heard about it. None of us lived
in 1812 back when we were fucking savages. So yeah, no, none of us were expecting to ever see something as
asinine,
ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Fill in the blank, people.
Like you can't even. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I was astonished that this is what it's been coming to. So, and then I don't know, just a dope week, man. Altogether, I've enjoyed it. Good first week of the year.
Yeah,
I've learned something this week. It's as far as like planning. I'm like in my head all week, just like I need to do this. I need to do this. Like new year. Not necessarily new me. It's just like, okay, you know what? I got to get these particular things done this year, and I'll feel like this year was an accomplishment, no matter what happens throughout the rest of the year. So,
yeah.
And it's not like lose weight. Like that's just a fucking everyday thing. You know what I mean? It's not a, get more physically fit. I mean, that's just what you want in life, anyways. It's more like all right, how am I going to plan to attack goals that I wanted to hit instead of just setting the goals? How am I going to attack them? And then I'm coming up with the goals as I go, which has been cool. Speaking of goals, I don't know how to do a transition alert into anything of any importance right now. So, so what I don't know. What do you want to start with, man? We did, and all that pre-production we just did, and talk once about how we want to start the pod out.
I mean,
I do know real quick. I'm sorry. We started out on a sour note. Let's just keep on the bullshit that's going on.
Don't worry, I was already with you.
All right, cool.
So, basically we lost a baseball legend in the sports world. Tommy Lasorda passed away at the age of 93. Um, and for those of you who don't know Tommy Lasorda, he basically is the epitome of Dodger blue. 71 years of his career was with that franchise as a player, whether it be in their minor league system. I know he was like kind of with the Phillies for like a short stint before he was officially a Dodger, but long story short, I mean, this man is the Dodgers.
Yeah.
He did he had some pre-existing heart conditions. I know I have down here he had a heart attack in 96. And that kind of ended his managing career with the Dodgers. He was a manager with them from 77 through 96, winning 2 World Series with the club. And then another in 2012, which was actually fairly recent. And I do remember this. I don't know if you do, but in 2012, had another heart attack that resulted in him having to have a pacemaker. So he had already been battling through some of those conditions as is, but yeah, man. I mean, as far as a legend goes in the game of baseball, I mean, he is basically the definition of it. I'll be completely honest. I always knew who Tommy Lasorda was, and I knew he was a lifer with the Dodgers, but I didn't realize the kind of impact that he had on that franchise himself before I started learning more about him, unfortunately, after he passed. But, he was a player, he was a scout, he was their manager, he was a front office executive. I mean, he had done it all with them.
Yeah.
And
baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And to the point where in 97, he actually got inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was as a baseball manager. But I mean, to be completely honest, his pitching days were short-lived. He pitched for a couple seasons, and then kind of quickly ended up becoming a scout, and it kind of went from there. And I know in 2000 Olympics, he actually helped the U.S. win gold. Yep. So, he had not just done it in the MLB, but he did it for our country too, which is just freaking awesome. And if anything goes to show how much he loved baseball, he had this quote, and he said, and he wants this on his tombstone, he said, so I'm sure his family will honor that. But it basically was, Dodger Stadium is my address, but every ballpark is my home. And I was just like, man, like that's when you know that this dude lived to be a part of that game. I just thought that was the coolest thing.
There was another quote that I saw go around, and he goes, my wife tells me, I think you love baseball more than me. I say, well, I guess that's true. But hey, I love you more than football and hockey. So, and I thought it was very funny that, that's a cute little tale that, him as outside of the game of baseball, and how he would, how him and his wife have fun with that. And it takes, I'll tell you what, like to have a sustainable relationship as somebody at that peak of a profession, that's commendable, because they're not home a lot. And, to know that he, had a great marriage like that, where it was something that really, I hope it was great, but it's, it sounded like it was great to, just be able to have that kind of a fun with your loved one. It's something. So, I know I didn't really, I mean, it's not like I remember, like I got introduced to Tommy Lasorda back in, was that 88, 89, when the Dodgers went to the World Series with, actually it was, when Kirk Gibson hit the home run.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was the one who made the decision to put Kurt in for that.
Yeah, so role, I mean, like that's when I got introduced to him and really realized who it was. So I mean, it was a really cool. I mean, to see a baseball. To me, he's always been a baseball legend, just because of the fact that I remember legendary times with him. So big prayers to the family, the Dodger family, the Sorta family, everybody that was affected by this loss. So thank you.
Drink to that.
So
Well, I'll let you choose, CB. Do you want to go into the NFL or do you want to go into college football?
Let's just let's go with college first because I feel like the NFL
Talk about the
we
big
kind of
guy
talked
right
about
here.
what's
This
we're
guy?
talking about our photo this week. DeVonta. I always say it wrong.
DeVonta Davis.
I know.
Or wow,
Because
DeVonta Smith. DeVonta
yeah,
Smith.
Smith.
I literally said Davis,
I
and I was
thought
like,
it was
oh my god.
DeVonta.
Even
Isn't that
you,
DeVonta?
DeVonta. It's just
yeah.
spelled that way.
All right. Wide receiver for Alabama is now your Heisman Trophy winner. And Clay, we were talking about it earlier today, and then like especially like right before the mic, and as we were trying to come up with titles and stuff, and I was just like, at the end of the day, this dude's getting up in Miami. What do you think? I mean, like, what do you think about him? I mean, because he is. I mean, I guess real quick to give his little accolade, which is kind of really important to know about the fact that why him winning this is actually a big deal. He's the first wide receiver to do it since Desmond Howard back in 1991 for the University of Michigan. Bum you. And shade.
Shade alert.
But yeah, so that's kind of a big deal, and I guess what was your thought going into the Heisman? Did you think he was going to be the front runner? Or did you kind of like what I thought? I thought it was going to be Lawrence. So
yeah, so I think everybody thought and assumed it was going to be Lawrence. I know coming into the season, I would have put money on Lawrence. I was like, no, there's nobody else that's going to surpass what this kid's about to do. I thought he was for sure national championship appearance at least, and lo and behold, Ohio State and Justin Fields put it to him. But I mean, he beats out Mac Jones, his own quarterback. He beats out Trevor Lawrence, and he beats out Florida's Kyle Trask, Florida's quarterback. And Trask had a great season, but 3 losses. It's hard to see someone win a Heisman that's lost that many games.
Yeah,
he
had hella stats, but
yeah, just following trends with Heisman winners. Typically, they're on an elite team of that year. Very rarely do you see a Heisman Trophy winner on like a 500 team. You know what I mean? I feel like that's just how college football is.
Yeah.
And as far as Trevor Lawrence, I'll be honest, like him missing games because of COVID doesn't really help. That's less yards he got to throw for, less touchdowns he got to throw for.
Yep.
And also, losing to Ohio State, man, like, that's the last game that you play before the Heisman votes, and that just doesn't look good. You failed to step up when it mattered most, and you saw what DeVonta Smith did: 3 touchdowns, 150 some yards, or whatever it was. Like the dude put out. And the thing is DeVonta Smith just wasn't a good receiver. He was a great receiver. I mean, he was setting records. Most receptions, most yards. I don't even know if that's necessarily true. I think the most yards that a player's had. So let's see here. He led the FBS in receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. 105 receptions, 1,641 yards, 20 touchdowns. If you had to guess how many passes he dropped this entire season, all games, what would be your guess? An educated guess on how many dropped passes?
3.
That's a very close guess, and that's a really, really, really low number. It was 2. He dropped 2 passes all season.
Here, the reason why I came in real low like that is because I was like, the dude won the Heisman.
Right.
He's got hands.
Yeah. But 2. I mean, how many times does something like get overthrown? You know what I mean? You don't get there in time, or you're falling the wrong way, or your jump is mistimed, or
don't they count those only if his fingers touch it or something like that? Doesn't he have to like actually touch the ball for it to actually count as a?
I'm not sure exactly, because I mean, like there are passes that will touch a receiver's hand that was clearly a terrible throw from a quarterback. So I don't know the proper way of categorizing a dropped pass.
I felt like most of the things that was even remotely close to him, he was catching.
Yeah. So my point being is, regardless, 2 drop passes is insane. However you categorize that, that's still insane.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even see NFL players. Granted, the coverage is different, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason they call it Alabama Open. So like we know what Alabama open looks like.
Yeah.
But to still only drop 2 passes, I mean that's just that shows credit to Mac Jones. But two, that in my opinion shows more credit to DeVonta Smith and like you said, them soft ass baby lotion hands. So my point I'm getting at is I think him, with all the records that he set, and the way he just dominated this season, I think rightfully he was the proper Heisman winner. Look at what he's done for Alabama. I mean, he's responsible for 20 touchdowns. He's responsible for most of their receptions. And I understand, Jalen Waddle getting hurt. That helps. That does help. I mean, we can't sit here and say if Waddle plays healthy all season that Smith puts up these numbers because, in my opinion, he doesn't. It's just fact. Right. He doesn't put these numbers up. But that's besides the point. The point is he's the most valuable player because he stepped up in a time of need. We just lost our 1A or 1B, however you want to see these guys, because Waddle was their 1A. I mean, that's what he was. He gets hurt, Smith steps up, wins the Heisman. I mean, the kid did everything he needed to do to be the player of the year. So kudos to him. I think it's deserving. And as far as this whole Miami Dolphins thing you got going on, I know my dad and I and my good buddy Steve, who's a huge Dolphins fan. Jesus, another Browns touchdown. 35-7 going into half. These Browns.
I told you. Even though on Twitter I said Pittsburgh was going to win this game, I want Cleveland to win. I want to see. I want to see Odell Beckham succeed. Jarvis Landry, Kareem Hunt.
Jarvis being a Dolphin draft pick, like I wanted to see him do well.
Chubb and Baker Mayfield.
I love me some Chubb.
Yeah.
Fantasy team, baby.
And I like Baker because of like all the shit he took coming into the league.
I'm indifferent.
You're indifferent.
He's better. I think he's better at acting in commercials than he is throwing footballs. But right now he's proven me wrong. So whatever. But yeah, so there's a couple things I think we already talked about, so I won't go super in depth. But as far as if Miami decides they want to take DeVonta Smith with the 3rd pick in the draft, I'm okay with that. We need to put weapons around Tua. Primary number 1, help Tua. We need to give him weapons. And now I understand Preston Williams was hurt. Like Gesicki was hurt half part of the time. Devontae Parker hurt.
Towards the end of the season, right?
Albert Wilson and Allen Hurns both sat out due to COVID. Like we were missing all of our weapons. You know what I mean? Not to mention Jordan Howard, we cut, ended up being a bust. Fucking Matt Breida, who I thought was going to be super great running back, barely saw the field. I mean, now good problem to have. Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmed, both step up. I mean, that's fucking awesome. But my point being is like when you have 3 rookie offensive linemen and you have none of your skill players, it does bust my chops that people sit here and go, Tua is a bust. He's not an NFL quarterback. He can't hack it. Yeah. And I'm like, give Tua fucking Mike Williams, give Tua Keenan Allen, give Tua Hunter Henry, give Tua Austin Eckler. Give them their offensive line. Are you telling me Tua wouldn't have performed a little better? Shit, give them their offensive coordinator.
So I got a question.
And I'm only using the Chargers because of Justin Herbert.
Right.
So what's your question?
I mean, because, help Tua at all costs. How do you feel about the offensive line, and would you lose your shit if they went after an offensive lineman?
No, so Penei Sewell is the guy who you're probably thinking of. Top-rated offensive tackle, and there have been many mock drafts that have us taking him too. Here's the way I look at that. If we're going to take the tackle there, first of all, you already know me, bro. I'm all in on Coach Flores. If he says we need a tackle, then I'm like, you're right, Flo. We need a tackle. Yeah. I'm not going to be pissed with our first pick unless we take a player that doesn't have value of being there. Like if we were to take Najee Harris at 3, I'd be like, that was a terrible pick. Great running back, but is he 3rd overall? Absolutely not. That would be a reach.
Right.
The value's not there. To me, if we're not trading draft picks, if this whole Deshaun Watson thing never happens, which we'll get into that later, if we're picking at 3, it's going to be Sewell or Smith. I don't see why it would be anyone else. And that's my early pick before we see potentially a combine. We're not even sure if they're going to have one. But
Yeah.
that there's like I said last week, there's 3 more months, dude. There's a lot of football talk that's going to be happening before that draft day comes. But if I had to pick right now, I'm good with either of those. Because if we take Sewell at 3, I would like to try and get Waddle at 18. If we don't think he'll be available there, I'm cool with trading up a little bit.
Uh, so
And the only reason I would do that for Waddle is because Tua has played with Waddle and Smith. To get Tua a wide receiver he has already played with in college, to me, that's a combination you don't see often in the professional level. You don't get
so
a quarterback and receiver that played together. You
right.
know what I mean? On the same team. So to me, that would be worth at least looking at that possibility or that scenario.
You saying that how do I want to phrase that question here? It escaped me, man. I'm sorry. I should have had the pad and paper.
You're good.
Just because you said something there that it was. Oh, now I remember. Oh, what if I was wondering if there was another team that had more than 2 drafts in the first round, and would you be cool with trading that 1 draft pick, that number 3 draft pick, for 2 other first round picks? Like if another team's like, we'll give you both our first rounds for the number 3.
Okay, rephrase that. So are you saying, let's say Lions? So let's use them for an example.
Yeah, hypothetically, the
Are
Lions
you
had
saying
2 picks in the first round, and we're like, you know what? We'll give you both our first round picks for that number 1, or for your number 3 pick.
100%, I would take that.
Yeah.
And the only reason I would say that is because we know the Lions are at least at 8. And there's a very good. I mean, at 8, we're gonna still get.
7, but
we're gonna. Is it 7? Yeah,
yeah.
I think Panthers are at 8. We're gonna still be getting super top tier talent at that point. Now if it's something like, oh, we have let's just say for example, the 30th and the 31st pick. I mean, we would
second round picks.
We would have to. No. But I'm saying, like, if we had the 18th already and somebody offered us the 30th and the 31st first round pick for the 3rd, that's a huge, dude. I mean, we're talking top 10 in the draft. That draft value. Yeah. I mean, we're talking immediate starters typically. Yeah. You can take somebody at 30 and still plan on sitting them behind someone for a year. Like, does it happen often? Usually not, no. But like, dude, those first couple picks, especially in the top 3, Christ almighty, these are guys that you assume are starting for your team week 1.
Yeah.
So
there's no tryout for them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, to answer your question, it is something I would be highly interested in, but it's a situational decision. Right. I couldn't say yes to A if B looks better, vice versa. Like it would depend. But to me, the whole thing where I'm at right now is the Dolphins need as much value as they can possibly get. Your Lions, same boat, dude. You need as much value and talent that you can get in the draft. That's why, like, right now, I'm not interested in Deshaun Watson. He's a top 5 QB, like guaranteed top 10. You can argue definitely a top 5 QB in the league. Yeah. But for the cost it's going to take to get him, we're getting rid of Tua. We're getting rid of both first round picks, probably a first pick next year, and potentially another second round pick on top of that. We're talking 4 top tier picks within the top 40 something draft picks and our first rounder from last year. Like, dude, that is not cheap. And the fact that we don't have a proper team put together to immediately say, Deshaun, we're competing for a championship. Mm-hmm. That's too rich for my blood. John and I talked about it earlier, and he was like, dude, he goes, that's top 5 QB. He goes, it takes teams decades sometimes to find a franchise QB. And he goes, that instantly makes you a competitor. And I go, I agree, but that doesn't instantly make us a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion, because we don't have enough talent around him to, I think, go that deep. And that's just my opinion. And Dolphins proved me wrong excuse me, they proved me wrong this year. We went 10-6. We were 1 game from the playoffs. Yeah. But let's say Miami made the playoffs. Who in their right mind is going to go, they're a Super Bowl favorite?
Right.
And that's my point. I don't think Deshaun Watson immediately makes us a Super Bowl favorite.
You would lose too much and gain less.
Yeah, I
than
wouldn't
what
say
you
too
gave up.
little. I think we would.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
reason why I wanted to
Yep.
watch how I said that because.
Yep.
Um.
And that's just my opinion. There
Yeah,
are other
I just
people
don't.
that, you know.
I think you're trying to build a culture, and you were building it around Tua,
Yeah.
to abruptly just say, oh no, we're going to, like that would be too much in the middle of a build.
Now,
It's not like you're bringing in a fucking top receiver.
Now, let's just say that Deshaun Watson in Houston, because I mean, you got to remember, so right now his contract technically is no trade clause.
Yeah.
Now, if he just decides, yo, I'm sitting out, like, fine, don't trade me. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm doing nothing for you guys. I mean, if this gets ugly enough and this drags out long enough, who's to say we don't get Deshaun Watson for a fucking steal, bro? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but who knows? I mean, look at the Cardinals and the Texans. They got DeAndre Hopkins for what? Close to nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, who knows?
I think Deshaun Watson looks better in San Francisco. And because they're actually a contending team. They had a rough year this year, but they're actually I mean, you got fucking Kelsey, or not Kelsey, their tight end. What's his name?
George Kittle.
Kittle, thank you.
Debo Samuel.
Debo.
Brandon Ayuk had a fucking strong year.
Could you imagine him in that organization? I mean, they're in real need of a quarterback, to be very honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's a good landing spot for him. Depending on what goes on with Drew Brees this year.
Oof. Yeah.
There's a lot of retirement talk going on right now. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of that organization, but I mean,
I think there's enough information that I think this is Drew's last rodeo. There's too many trusted sources that are saying the same thing. I
could you imagine him with Mike and
I'm sure John Rosado would love some of that action. I just don't know. See, don't quote me on this, obviously. I just have a feeling right now. I don't know what the Saints cap space is looking at. See, that's another reason I don't want him in Miami. 156 mil is where his contract's at right now. Our cap is like 192.
You're like, I got 3 more years before I have to worry about that pay cap.
Oh, sheesh.
Trying to re-sign Tua.
4. We got 4 years. 3 more. I'm sorry, I wasn't counting this year.
Yeah,
I think we had him on 4. So yeah, but nonetheless,
to be put in the hole that way.
We'll see. All I know is that Deshaun is not happy with Houston. They went out and they already signed their offensive coordinator. Deshaun wanted the OC from Kansas City, and Houston didn't even come to him to get any kind of feedback or anything. Yeah. Straight up just signed. I think it was Bellany is who I could be wrong on that.
Sounds about right. That sounds about right. I saw that name.
But yeah, they just went out, signed him, and Deshaun at this point, dude, he is. I mean, he's gone.
Well, there was no conversation with the head coach or anything.
Maybe you could see Deshaun was showing his true emotions all season. Yeah. J.J. Watt was showing his emotions. I mean, Houston is imploding right now. And if I were, I can't think of their owner right now, but if I were that man, I would be seriously concerned about.
But the thing is to give him a little safety net here. He fired the guy that basically put him in the situation they're in.
Yeah.
This year, you know what I'm saying?
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got rid of, and he gone. So the owner's already making the steps to, hey, I'm trying to make things right here, but he's fucking up by not bringing in your key players. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what do you, we're going all over, starting all over now, and we want to get somebody who's going to play to your strengths or coach to your strengths. What are your strengths? Let's have that conversation. Who do you think that you could really learn under?
Mm-hmm.
And when you got on the captain of the offense, I don't know. A lot of times you don't have the such a dominant player and not have a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like typically when you got a dominant quarterback, that coach is still there. You know,
Yep.
until so this is a weird situation, and it's he's I think he's in the right place to be upset about not being spoken to, especially when you just dropped 150. What did we say?
156.
$156 million. That you said you're gonna pay me. I think that you at least want to hear what I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. And I'm just pulling up a random article on Sporting News just for the sake of chit chat, and we don't have to go into it, but it looks like a lot of these sources are saying, without reading them all, they're saying Texan or Patriots, Dolphins,
Ooh,
Broncos.
the Patriots. I know you don't want to see them.
Yeah, Broncos, 49ers are in there. Washington, Indianapolis, and New York Jets. Those are some of these are just realistic possibilities.
No Jets. He's not going to say yes to the Jets. He might say yes to Washington with the year that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that he's getting another leader on the defensive side, like a J.J. Watt and Chase Young, I don't have to worry about the defense. This guy's got the defense on lockdown.
If it were me, I think there's two plays. I think number one, Indianapolis Colts. They have one of the best O-lines in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You still got T.Y. You got
Jonathan Taylor.
You got Paris Campbell from Ohio State, but he got hurt this year. You still got T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
I mean, and you got one of the better defenses.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, those Colts were shit, dude. I mean, if frickin' Blankenship doesn't miss 2 field goals, Colts technically could have won that game in regulation. Like, I mean, they were very close to taking out the 2-seeded Bills, which I was hoping for. But nonetheless, I think if I were Deshaun, to go to a team where, and with Deshaun, I mean, no disrespect to Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer, but they are a serious contender. They are a very serious contender taking Deshaun Watson there.
I mean, it's a younger player. It's a more what's going on now. And it'll probably allow to. I don't feel like Phillip Rivers really is the scary quarterback back there to relieve Jonathan Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Like, where Deshaun Watson's a little bit more scary. He's a scarier player to have back there.
He is.
So
yeah. I don't think the Broncos are fully developed to be scary, but I like the idea of Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton. Like,
I just don't. They're not.
They're young.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
I don't see him going anywhere that they're. Yeah, I don't see.
Here's the thing too. You got to remember is even.
I'm not looking at their books, but
even though Deshaun Watson is a top QB, he's only 3 years in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, Deshaun Watson is still a young quarterback. Like, and that's part of the reason why I was saying, like, if Miami were to even consider it, it's a rich trade, dude. It's going to take a lot to get Deshaun Watson there because he's coming off of his rookie contract.
Oh, you could oversell those motherfucking draft picks you got next year.
So who knows, man? I don't want him to New England. He can go anywhere else.
I was going to say, like, the New England thing partly makes sense. But the thing is, like, I don't see him in any team that's not in contention right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not going. I mean, if he wanted to suck, he'd stay in Houston.
Yeah. I mean, dude, well, I don't know if. I know they're losing plays a big part, but I think it's the attitude also.
Oh, no.
And I don't think if they were having this season, but they were having a good culture in the locker room, an understanding of where they are. See, the thing is Houston is on the heavy decline. They had their opportunities to be elite. Then they got rid of arguably arguably their best player.
Yeah.
You know, but I think J.J. Watt is a beast. But I think DeAndre would probably still have been their best player.
Yeah.
I mean, by far. So my point being is you could just tell that when that stuff started happening, that locker room, that culture just flatlined.
Yeah.
And I think that's playing a huge part as in wanting to get out more so than losing. If they would have had that record with DeAndre and with the right coach and it was just the cards weren't falling their way, they'd be saying things like unacceptable, we need to get better, not this is a joke, people don't take it serious. You know what I mean? It was just when JJ Watt is speaking out like that, that says to me it's more than just we need to practice and get better. I mean, there's more toxic things happening than just miscues on the field. So my whole thing is I think he needs to get out because he's not feeling appreciated. He's not feeling valued. And right now, I think Houston is probably going to be one of the worst teams next year, especially if they lose Deshaun and if they lose JJ.
I just thought, I was talking about where Deshaun could end up. Dak Prescott's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco.
I still think Dak resigns with Dallas. I think
just saying, like, I
think Jerry's about to give Dak some big money.
He sure should, man. I'm just saying, like,
here's the way I look at it.
Dak has options now.
Oh no, I agree with you. The only reason I think Jerry pays Dak is Dak didn't super complain when he got franchise tagged. You know what I mean? He didn't go super public like he could have or sat out like Ezekiel Elliott did. He fucking swallowed the pill, said, fuck it, I'm going to work my ass off and prove to you why I'm worth it. And especially with him getting hurt, man, I think Jerry's going to swallow that pride a little bit and say, here's the money we should have given you, even coming off your injury. Here's the confidence I have in you as a person and a player.
You got a lot of faith in Jerry Jones, and I like where where your heart is with Jerry Jones, because I would love to see that.
He's a businessman. All I'm saying though is Jerry also likes spotlight. Yeah. And signing
to
Dak
know that he's
going
to
put Jerry in the good
graces of the
media and the fans.
Yeah.
Like that will make him look like a good guy, and it's gonna wash off all.
Because he's had so many years of being known as the bad guy, and that's the reason why he wanted the glory of being the guy that put together the teams, because Jimmy Johnson got all that love, and then who came in after him? Who came in right after Jimmy Johnson? They went to a Super Bowl and won with him too.
All I can think of is Bill Parcells.
No, there was.
But I don't think that was after Jimmy.
No, the guy right after Jimmy.
I didn't know. Barry Switzer.
Thank you. Good find.
Is that who it is?
Yep, that's exactly who I was thinking of. You won a Super Bowl with them. So.
Jimmy Johnson, then Barry Switzer.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill Parcells was a little later. Yep.
Yeah. So, but that's the reason why Switzer ended up, because Jimmy Johnson was getting all the credit. He didn't like that. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to see that. I'd love to see Dak stay in Dallas. I don't know. Football's fun when Dallas is good, and it's fun to hate them when they're good. Hating them when they fucking blow donkey balls isn't as fun.
Yeah, I think another reason Jerry shows Dak some love is because with Dak Prescott this season, the Cowboys run away with the East. It goes to show how valuable Dak is to that franchise right now in the immediate present. Like,
dude, they were gonna fucking kill that division.
Yeah, they would have probably had 8 or 9 wins easily, and they would have had what, 2 or 3 more wins than Washington.
Yeah,
it would have.
They would. I think they would have blown out. I think they would have blown out that division with that. I mean, they were running, man.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So you're not opposed to Deshaun Watson, but you're not holding your breath for him.
Right now, if I had a pick, I do not want him. I
Yeah.
do not want him in Miami. Despite all the haters, I am confident with Tua. Chan Gailey has resigned. We're going to get a new offensive coordinator. Most likely, it'll be our tight end coach, who, after like every drive, on the bench, right next to Tua, looking at the tablet, going over plays, like he has been so involved with just Tua's development, and so knowledgeable um, about like just the offense. I think that internal promotion I think would be a really good move for us. It stays within the culture that we're looking at right now. Um, I would like to see that move, but who knows? We'll see how that plays out. But no, man, like I don't want Deshaun. Like, first of all, Deshaun Watson. If they were like, hey, do you want this QB? No strings attached. Absolutely. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
with the money, with what we're going to have to give up, it's just too much. And we are not in the place where he, like I said, we don't make an immediate impact. What do? We bring him in on his 4-year contract. And then on his 3rd or 4th year, we finally are ready to potentially contend for a Super Bowl.
And now you got to pay me more
And now
money.
we got to pay him even more when we re-sign him. And maybe I'm, giving my team the short end of the stick. But like, I feel like I'm knowledgeable enough to look at our team and say, yo, like we went 10-6, we're ahead of schedule. That's awesome. But I don't think that means we're automatically supposed to make the playoffs next year. We still have a lot of room to get better, 100% on our offensive side. But just bringing in another QB, I don't think solves our problems. I think we still need to get a better line. We still need to get way better talent at the receiving core. And to be completely honest, even though I'm happy with our running backs right now, we could still use like a power back. We don't have any power run game right now. So
Finesse
I
the
don't know.
game.
We'll
Just
see.
finesse the game.
The shit the Chiefs do.
I know, right?
But we don't have Pat Mahomes.
Brr.
So
Well, I don't know. Let's kind of delve into this weekend's games, man. Because I tell you what I really enjoyed was that at 1 o'clock yesterday, I was like, ooh, there's a football game on. At 4 o'clock yesterday, I was like, ooh, there's a football game on. At 8 o'clock, I was like, ooh, there's a football game on. And then I got to go to bed, rinse and repeat.
it was dude,
So
yeah, from a football standpoint, it was a freaking awesome weekend. I can't say I sat in one chair and watched all 3 games front to back. I had a little bit of a birthday dinner and drinks to attend outside, super low key, just 3 of us. So, I had that Saturday night, which granted, I'll be honest, the Bucks Washington, I was least interested in that game. Like I just as much as I would love to have seen Washington upset,
and it was a really good game.
which I did still watch the second half though. So
Yeah.
let that be known. But my point, you catch my drift. I have seen all of the games. I just haven't watched them first snap to last snap.
Oh yeah.
Because I'll be honest, man, like as much as I wish I could just sit there, like I was getting antsy. I still had errands to run. I got podcasts to record, shit's still going on. So
Right.
but having football 2 days over the weekend and knowing that from 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I could flip on the TV and watch football. Greatest feeling ever.
It was.
And it's,
it was
dude,
really
and I'll be honest, other than this game right now, they have all been relatively
games.
competitive. That Colts Bills, super competitive. Seahawks Rams, wasn't ready for that. Was not ready for that.
What the fuck? Like, okay,
Yeah.
so help me understand something.
Before we get ahead, do you
okay.
want to go through the games? Because I have them up on my screen right now. If you
Yeah,
want
let's
to just
go ahead.
game-
Let's go
okay.
ahead. Yeah.
So, Colts Bills. Did you get a chance to watch that one?
I got to watch part of it. Like I was in and out of them.
Okay, so other than my nap in the second quarter, because I'm an old man, I watched all that whole game. Super competitive, super interesting. Obviously, I was rooting for the Colts, but I did say the Bills would win this one.
Yeah.
It ended up being 24-27. The Colts did have a little bit of an opportunity at the end of the game to try and get down the field and win it. pretty lackluster effort there at the end of the game, if you ask me. But at the end of the day, man, I guess let's just kind of keep it simple. Like Josh Allen, he showed up. The dude's lights out.
I like that kid, man.
He's right. Hey, I've told you this before, and I'm sure you remember. I said in that draft class, which we weren't ready for Lamar Jackson to be an immediate impact last year like he was.
Yeah.
But I said Josh Allen was my pick.
Yep.
That's who I said if I had an option, I would go with Josh Allen. And look at what he's become. Or I said last year, sorry, 3 years ago. This was the draft class from 3 years ago, 2017. And the crazy thing is, man, is like, you know, his first 2 seasons were not that great. He actually had the lowest completion percentage out of all quarterbacks in the league, 2017 or 2018 and 2019. And then all of a sudden this year, 4th in the NFL. He goes from 52% completion rating. I think he jumped to like 68 or 69%, which may not seem like a big jump to some of you listeners, but like when you're completing 7 of 10 passes on average for an entire season, that's stellar in the NFL. And the crazy thing is, dude, is he gets it done with his feet. He's a 240-pound, 6'4" quarterback.
Yep.
This dude's durable. He's got arm strength. His arm accuracy this year was off the charts, and he can get it done with his legs, which is just super impressive. I hate to admit it, but I think right now he is by far the best quarterback in the AFC East. Like there is
easily
no competition.
Easily. Like I actually thought that was going to be a walk of a game. What was it? It was Friday. I was helping somebody out, and we ended up with having to get a hold of a department. And the guy I was helping out used to play in the NFL. Like he was on he played for the Chargers, and then his final season was with the Bills. And the guy that was on the phone that we were talking to, huge Bills Mafia guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's sitting there, and like, you know, the guy's just rattling off. He's basically, I have a fucking PhD in Bills history right now because of this guy. He fucking, like, I was sitting there going, yo, are you working on the other end, or are you just telling me about the Bills in my head, you know, like, because you know, I was busy, but I was enjoying it. And it was funny, like, gentleman that I was helping out, like, after we were done talking, he goes, that guy knows his Bills history. He's just sitting there. He was naming names of people I didn't realize. He was naming names that people would know, like the strength and conditioning coach from back in the fucking 90s. He goes, I was sitting there trying to think of his name, and then he said it, and he goes, there you go. He's just like, you know, because, I mean, just like most people, like, you can't name everybody you ever worked with, you know. Maybe you can. Good for you if you can. But, you know, and when you think about the professional sports in that organization and how many people you fucking end up meeting along the way, he's just like, that guy's about his business. And so, like, he was even, the client was even more hype after leaving, because he's just like, yeah, that's my squad. Let's go Bills. You know, because he didn't play with Bruce Smith, did he? I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, like, he knew a lot of the guys that this gentleman was talking about, and it was just kind of fun to watch, and made me think, oh man, I wish Clay was here so he could shit on the motherfucking Bills. So
I wouldn't
just
have been
because
much
I
I could
thought
have
it would
said,
have been
but
funny. Well,
it would have been
I
a fun
mean,
conversation, 100%.
Yeah. So,
before we get off of them, this question came up, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been you know, okay. I don't remember. Maybe Colin Coward. I don't remember whose show it was, but a question came up, and he made some valid points. And the question was, if you were starting a new franchise, who would you take, Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen? And he goes, Pat Mahomes. He goes, why would you not take Pat Mahomes?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and this is what I realized. He goes, after talking to numerous people within the league, he didn't say if they're players, you know, scouts or anything. He goes, after talking to people, you would be shocked at how many people would take Josh Allen. And he goes, and let me explain. He goes, when you're a scout or when you're putting a team together, he goes, there's more things to look at than just the wins and losses that we as spectators see. He goes, there's this thing called the NFL Combine. Don't know if you've heard of it. And he goes, and in this combine, they measure your athleticism and your stats. And he starts going over all these weird things. He goes, hand size, Josh Allen by a landslide, 40 time, Josh Allen, vertical, Josh Allen. And like he starts going through all of this shuttle time, Josh Allen, going through all of these things about how Josh Allen is just was against Pat Mahomes, mind you.
Yeah.
And was going through all of this stuff. And he goes, and on paper, if you didn't ever see either of these two play, he goes, you would be astonished at how few people would pick Pat Mahomes. He goes, Pat Mahomes brings intangibles. He brings these crazy no-look passes and these wild stellar plays. And he goes, but look at it like this. He goes, when they both came into the league, he goes, you got Pat Mahomes, who kind of pulled an Aaron Rodgers. He sat behind a high-rated quarterback who was Alex Smith at the time, learned under him for a couple years. You know what I mean? And And then he goes, then you have Josh Allen, one of the worst teams in the league, had absolutely nothing around him, thrown in as a rookie, struggled, and started going through all these scenarios. And I was thinking about it, man. And now, granted, I think Pat Mahomes is killer. When I first saw this before he started going through all of this, I was kind of leaning towards Josh Allen. One, because I was fond of him back in the draft. And two, I've got to watch this man play a minimum of 6 games over the last 3 seasons against my Dolphins alone, on top of just important games that he's played recently, this season more so. And and I wanted to bring it up because there's more things I could say, but I think I've taken up like 80% of this podcast. So I want to ask you, granted you've heard me say all this stuff, but what do you think? Like, what would you do? Do you think, let me ask it this way. One, who would you take? And two, do you think things like hand size, 40 time, the athleticism, and all these combine statistics on top of his size, his build, and all that, would that play a legitimate part in your decision making? Or are you more of a show me what you can do, I'm not worried about what it says on paper kind of guy?
I think, because I'm sitting here and I kind of had an idea where the question was headed to there. I was just like, I would have to watch their college games.
Mm-hmm.
I hold heavier because that's showing what you can do in battle,
right,
more so than what the paper stuff. So if I didn't have the opportunity to as far as like whatever, let's say film didn't exist, right?
For the sake of conversation,
if film didn't exist, I could definitely, because I sat there, I'm like, oh, Josh Allen, like I've enjoyed Josh Allen. I mean, I picked him up last year on fantasy football for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I had never dropped him because I was just like, hey, shit, I might want to rock this kid, because he was actually making moves last year and they sucked.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have, and I think that it's hard because of the names that's being spoken about, because I know what each can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way I can pull. I've been trying to pull what I know away from the conversation here to try and give you a true answer. I don't have one. I don't think it's fair. There's no way I could give you a one because I know what they can do. I would still go Patrick Mahomes. Maybe that's what Colin was kind of getting at in his whole spiel is I know what I'm getting with this guy. Josh Allen, who has had a fantastic year this year and it made the team better. But at the end of the day, like Patrick Mahomes also won a fucking Super Bowl. So
with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt.
Once again, it allowed him to play at his peak performance to be able to do the crazy shit that he can do.
But if you take
and
Pat
I'm
Mahomes,
looking at,
you're not getting company. That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying I can't pull away from like who I would pull because
that's fair.
I'm only drafting from those teams, organizations, situations, and at that point in situation, Patrick Mahomes made sense to draft, and for the Bills, it definitely made sense to draft a Josh Allen.
So let me ask you this, just for the sake of the conversation then.
I know what you're trying to get me. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be honest.
no,
I
so
can't.
I'm gonna switch up the scenario. So you look at college quarterbacks. It is notorious that Alabama college quarterbacks destroy college football teams
Mhm.
and then come into the NFL and are absolute busts
Yep.
all the time. Two is probably other than the only other one I can think of that's even somewhat relevant would have been McElroy.
I didn't think he did anything in the NFL.
No, in college,
Oh,
he
he was
was
a
a
beast.
stud. That's
Yeah.
my point. So when you take a player who's surrounded by all-stars, to be fair,
Mhm.
in Alabama, and then you look at somebody like Josh Allen, North Dakota State.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go into it, but I'm saying when you look at what they can do, you're going to assume that this Alabama quarterback is going to destroy this North Dakota quarterback. So so my only argument to your whole I see what Mahomes can do. Look at his support. I think his supporting cast shows what Mahomes can do. That's
Mhm.
all. Put Mahomes with the Jets.
Oh, it's trash.
Put Mahomes with the Jags.
Well, because that's the thing. It's like, but I'm
But that's why
okay. I see what you're saying
the only
because the
reason
fact that
I'm
he's
challenging you.
playing with playmaker. I get what you're saying.
Bro,
Because he has
he
playmakers,
came
he
into a
can get away
team
with
that
some
was
crazy shit.
already ready to make a run to a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Now, not to discredit Mahomes. I'm super high on Mahomes. Right now, he is a top 3 quarterback in the league. Well, top 5 guaranteed. Let's say
Yeah.
top 5 guaranteed. Because 3, we're talking like Aaron Rodgers status, and he's been doing it for a very long time compared to Mahomes'
I
short.
was gonna say Rodgers, Brady, and Breeze.
Yeah, that's why I said top 5. Because even though he's only been in the league for X amount of 3 years relevant.
Or Roethlisberger, if you wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. So, but I mean right now I take Mahomes over Roethlisberger any day. But you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get back into it. I was just saying that just to challenge where your mind was at, just for the pure sake of okay, I see where you're coming from.
I do. I see what you're. I definitely see it.
Yeah, but here's
it's just hard for me to.
No matter if you go Allen or Mahomes, you're getting an absolute stud of a quarterback,
Yeah.
and that's that.
I
right
got a
there,
playmaker. I have a
Absolutely.
playmaker.
Absolutely.
So.
And they would both be excited. You know what? I want both of them. We're gonna split time with them like Taysom and
First
Breeze.
quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Next time, who started the fucking first game or first quarter, you rolled the second.
Like, all right, you're gonna start until you throw an incompletion. You're in the game.
Yeah, there you go. You make a mistake, you're out.
Holmes starts looking more at his receivers.
Dude, I had my JV baseball coach. You keep track of your stats, right? He kept track of mental mistakes, and he'd look over the dugout and goes, "That was a mental, mark it."
Oof.
Mental, mark it.
Dude, I mean, that's a big deal, dude. Physical mistakes can be corrected and worked upon with practice. Mental mistakes,
I was
gonna
say it took me till I was an adult because he never explained to us why he did that, and he was very adamant about making sure that mental mistake got marked.
Mm-hmm.
You could have missed the fact that maybe you looked at a ball high or a strike high, and you whatever.
Or misplayed a ground ball. But you can't ever go back on not knowing how many outs there are.
If you sit there and you go he gives a signal and you don't steal, mental. It has no reason. He doesn't care if you made the choice or not. That's a mental mistake because he's playing chess and we were playing fucking baseball.
Yeah, I get it.
It was amazing. I'm not trying to shit on him. I thought that was he's one of my favorite coaches of all time, but it's just crazy what a mental,
Yeah.
So.
So I think the rest of these games will go through pretty quick because I didn't have that who would you choose scenario. But the next game we have the Rams and the Seahawks. Seahawks at
Surprised.
home lost 30-20. Now, granted, I think it's important to say that Goff did not start the game because of injury. Wolford ended up starting the game, which, if you ask me, that already puts the Rams. Yeah, that already puts the Rams at a disadvantage. Yep. Lo and behold, he played some outstanding football until he got hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of this game because this was about the middle of that game is when I had to go. Yep. So, but I tell you what, man, those Rams surprised me. I mean, I don't want to discredit them. I just Seahawks at home in the playoffs just seems like such a solid wrap, dude. They've been so consistent in the past. Pete Carroll usually gets his guys ready. So for them to drop one at home, I just think was surprising. But the Rams have been relevant every year, it seems like.
Yeah.
So
I
Sean
wish I would have
McVay is
got the
doing
opportunity
something
to pay
right.
more attention to what was going on over there because for that game, because I don't know if it was lack of preparation, if the Rams were just that much better. I think that like I'm looking back and I'm like, was my prediction of the Seahawks winning just based on my thought that Russell Wilson's there's no way he's losing in the fucking first round. First playoff game that he's in this year. And him and Pete Carroll. I mean, I'm like, you got to fucking stud him, DK Metcalf. I was just like, defense is playing solid. I just didn't expect for them to get bounced that first game, and I wish I could have seen more of what was actually going on there. But I was really, really surprised by that fucking game.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So Rams move on.
Lullaby,
They're
say
going to end up
goodnight.
playing the Packers. So we'll see how that goes for them, and we'll get into some predictions later.
Yeah.
But so final game we had last night, which surprisingly was extremely entertaining.
Really good game. Really
Buccaneers
good game,
and
man.
the Washington football team.
Yeah.
Buccaneers ended up winning 31-23. Tom Brady ended up pulling off another playoff victory. I'm sure. Oh yeah, always, dude. Forever and always. I'll hate him after he retires too.
Right.
But Heineke. I'm blanking on his first name.
Taylor.
But Taylor Heineke. Alex Smith did not play once again due to a calf injury. And Taylor Heineke, quarterback, used to play for the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL. One of the few players who ended up getting signed to an NFL roster this season. And I think I heard that they moved him up from the practice squad like that week. Is that correct?
No, remember
Or
it was like a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was the week prior when Chase Young just, I like that kid. He out here learning, because he's just like, yo, man, I like what you're doing. And he's like, yo, man, that's what I do. And so, it was, I don't know, it was really cool to see. So.
Yeah, I think play of the game, dude, there was one where the pocket collapsed and he somehow got out of there without taking a sack, stretched it to the outside, and full extension Superman dove with the ball out front from like 5 yards away, hits the pylon, touchdown.
Yeah.
Coolest quarterback scramble from a quarterback I didn't even know was going to play in a playoff game ever.
Right.
So, but I guess at the end of the day, despite how exciting that was, Buccaneers got it done. They're going to advance. They're going to end up playing the Saints, who ended up winning today against the Bears, which we'll talk about in a second. But it'll be really fun to see Brady Breeze. Brady 100% has the better end of that matchup, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So hopefully Drew can make some magic happen before the potential of his retirement after this season, as rumors are saying. But we'll let that play out. I'm going to go out of order since we kind of were just talking about this. But the second game today, the Saints did handle the Bears 21-9. I didn't watch much of this game, man. I'll be honest. I just, at this point, I was footballed out.
Wait, you?
Yeah, dude. I'll be honest. I thought this game was going to be worse than what it was. I thought the Saints were going to have this by 4 or 5 scores. I didn't even think it would have been as close as what it was. And so I was just like, I started watching it and I was just like, I was like, I'm good, dude. I got to record tonight. I'm going to be watching football, talking football as I'm recording. I was like, I'm just going to take a little bit of time, jump on some Xbox with some buddies and just like get my mind elsewhere.
A little bit. Yeah.
Essentially, yes. So did you watch this game?
Once again, like it was because like it was in between this time because I was working today and it was my little window of, hey, I came home and I had to start watching it on my phone because the family was watching something else. So, it was my time to kind of like hang out with my family but yeah, still wanted to see the game. So I was,
John, I want to apologize because I know you're listening and you're going to be upset that one of the games I didn't watch was your Saints. Understand, I was so confident in your Saints that I knew that it was an automatic win.
I wasn't invested into it. Like, that's exactly it. Like, I was just like, you know what? Like, the Saints are gonna fucking walk all over the Bears because the Bears didn't deserve to be there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I that's the reason I just wasn't overly intrigued by that particular game.
Yeah.
Of all the games this weekend, that was the one I was the least curious about.
I mean,
expected.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we got what we expected.
I mean, I was gonna say any two teams who have to play on Nickelodeon, that's child's game to watch. Like, that clearly told me that I was not the target audience of this game.
Right. Hey, watch these guys have fun.
I could see Rosado now. You should have watched it on CBS. F-bombs didn't get dropped on CBS. They only got dropped on Nickelodeon.
I know, that was fucking hilarious.
SpongeBob's face shows up in between the uprights.
Yeah.
I could only imagine John trying to watch that game if it was only on Nickelodeon. That would have really upset me.
Oh, I think he would have had steam out of his fucking head.
Yeah. Well, John already does. They can, like, I've seen the Saints be up by like 3 scores, and he will text me frustrated about their terrible defensive play and how he's like gonna have a heart attack. And I'm like, boy, must be nice always making it to freaking the playoffs every single year and winning your division. Rough life.
He's gonna. I mean, here's the thing: is he's gonna have a rough life if they don't sign Deshaun Watson, or trade for Deshaun Watson. They got nothing in the. Well, what's that? That
they
one
got
dude,
Taysom,
the white dude.
Taysom Hill, and they got Jameis Winston.
There you go. They got Jameis? I thought.
Yeah.
He is there, isn't he? So you got Hill. You got Hill.
We'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
We'll hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, go ahead.
But
and
like I said,
so
Saints are moving on. They're going to be playing the Bucks, so I am super excited to watch a little bit of Brady Breeze. Though I will be tuning into that game, guarantee. I'll be honest, I probably won't be missing any other games rest of the playoffs.
I was gonna say, that's one game that I'll carve time out of my day for.
Yep. So one of the other games, first game we had today that this is one of the games I was most excited for in the wild card, and that was Ravens Titans. Yep, Ravens Titans. And I am a big Derrick Henry fan. I just think that I've always been a fan of the big bruiser running back, and when you give a man like that the ability to then outrun DBs, I mean, that's just icing on the cake. I mean, that dude's an absolute beast. And as long as he can stay healthy, I honestly think Derrick Henry can go down as a top running back of all time. Yeah. He has that potential in my mind. We'll see how that his big frame, if it gives him any issues down the road as far as knees, ankles, things like that. Because as you get older, he's not going to have that top speed, that fifth gear that he has right now. But we'll see. But yeah, man, Ravens came out and they handed it to the Titans on the road, beat them 20-13 to advance. And I mean, this was just the Deshaun Jackson, Jesus. This was the Lamar Jackson show, man.
Yeah.
Ironically, once again, John Rosado, because I mean, that's my football dude. Him and I talk all the time during football games. He's just like, Deshaun, Jesus Christ. Lamar Jackson throws that. Did you watch this game?
Yeah.
Okay, so Lamar throws that.
Portion of it,
yeah, he throws that interception on their first or second drive, errant throw, dude. Shouldn't have been intercepted whatsoever. Just a poor throw gets picked. And he texts me. He goes, and this is why Lamar Jackson can't be the primo quarterback. You know what I mean? It's his inability to throw the ball accurately. Yeah. And I was like, I go, dude, that was a terrible pass. Then later that game, Lamar breaks off a freaking 60-yard touchdown up the middle, and I text him and I go, and this is why Lamar Jackson isn't the prototypical quarterback, because it's like that kid's special, man. No, his arm isn't perfect. He has games where he's deadly accurate.
Yeah.
But he has a lot more games where he struggles in the pocket. and struggles throwing the ball, but what he can do with his feet is unprecedented. I mean, I'll be honest, he's a better scrambling quarterback than Michael Vick. Michael Vick had the better arm, but when it comes to pure running ability, Lamar Jackson has already proved that he is elite at running the ball.
That's a bold statement, my friend.
Hey, listen to my words. Best running quarterback. Michael Vick, best scrambling quarterback. Michael Vick would scramble to by himself. Now, he could still run the line. I'm a huge Michael Vick fan. I mean, if you don't
you got me staring at the wall like, yo, am I going to bang my head in this motherfucker right now?
Look at the stats, man. Only quarterback ever to have 1,000 passing and 1,000 rushing. Only quarterback ever to ever have multiple 1,000-yard rushing seasons, and he's already done that in his first 3 years. 2 of his 3 seasons, he has done something no other quarterback has ever done. That's special. And he's going to continue to do what he's doing. That kid is lightning when it comes to running that football, man. I mean, you don't got to actually look it up unless you really want to know, but it's facts. I'm a proficient fan. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah. I mean, did you have any takes from the game?
Wait, what game we on?
Ravens Titans.
Yeah, there we go. No, I from what I could see, Lamar Jackson was gonna let that team lose today. He laid the fuck out today. Like I sat there, I was just like, when he dove for that touchdown earlier, I go, he watched Hanky lay out, and he goes, if this kid who's fighting for a job was Heineke, there you go, thank you.
He said Hanky.
I did. I was like, Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo. He loves me, and I love you.
Way too well.
He's like, yo, if that kid stands no chance to win lays out. Me is, and I'll be honest, we talked about, I think it was just last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. I think I even said he's had a great year, just not as great as the year before, stat wise. And, I think that he's just kind of been, I felt like all year everybody was shitting on him.
I would agree with that 100%. You talking about Lamar, right?
Yeah, dude, Lamar. Yeah.
But the last
but like I pointed out last episode or the episode before, I told you, I was like, I don't have the stats. Once again, I don't have the stats in front of me, but he had a great season this year.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
Just because it wasn't 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards passing,
which it
kind of season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, why are we shitting on the guy? Because they lost games?
Yep.
He can't keep offenses out of the end zone.
Yeah, I think what it was, and I'll be honest, dude, it was the same as Pat Mahomes. That the Chiefs had games this season where we were like, ooh, like they don't look that good, but no one shit on Mahomes. The Ravens had some poor games, mostly due to Lamar forcing the ball in the air. He had some interception issues this season, but because they lost, they had a little bit of a losing skid in the middle of the year. Everyone counted them out. I mean, Baltimore came into the playoffs as voted the most overrated team in the playoffs. I would say they were one of the teams that were very susceptible to losing. I think the Steelers are probably the most overrated team in the playoffs, if you were to ask me. They have almost lost to way worse teams, and their wins, I mean, they were on, what were they, 13-0 or 14-0, 13-0 at one point before they lost. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're a bad team, but when it comes to who is susceptible to losing, I would have voted Pittsburgh, and lo and behold, granted it's 35-23 in the third right now, Cleveland. Look at them now, like the Steelers.
But TJ's out there balling right now.
No, and I know that, but I still think the Steelers are more overrated than the Ravens.
100%.
In my opinion.
The
record doesn't show that.
Apparently, I'm not talking to the same people because, it's not like I I haven't gotten the conversation about the Steelers or the Ravens with anybody because most people I'm speaking to is not talking about those two. Not against them, they're just very homers.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know that the Ravens were an overrated team coming into it. I'm like, man, I actually think they're underrated. That's the way I'm seeing them personally because of the fact that
I don't know if you knew this, but we're proficient fans.
Yeah.
So
I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, I didn't even know that they were an overrated team. To me, they were underrated because I thought they were getting disrespected the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Lamar Jackson was getting disrespected the entire season.
Yeah.
But they pulled out that dub. I actually had the Titans winning.
I did too.
But
I also thought that. I don't have the stats. But I
think Henry only had like 40 yards or something like that.
That's what I was going to look up. I'm pretty sure that Derrick Henry was kept to
last week's a cover art.
Damn near.
Wait, did he just get the proficient fans curse? He ran for 256 yards 1 week. We make him the fucking picture and.
Great. So DeVonta Smith gets hurt in off-season training. Got it.
And he ends up still being a fucking a Dolphin.
No. They know if he gets hurt. Is my point. So Derrick Henry, 18 rushes, 40 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah. And the thing was, he had one run today, like early in the game. I go, these men are just speed bumps for that massive monster.
Now, so week 13, I believe it was, in Baltimore,